Hello boys and girls! Today we are looking at oil. I think it makes sense to first take a look at what we actually need oil and natural gas for. There are a lot of things that can be made from them, and there are plenty of byproducts as well. In the classic setup, oil leads to plastic, which we already have. It also leads to rocket fuel, which we can obtain in other ways. The only thing I really see us needing from oil is lubricant. Everything else has alternative recipes. With that in mind, I think the goal for today is clear. If lubricant is the only thing we can usefully get out of oil and gas, then we want robots. The good kind this time. Once we have those, we can set up a mall. That way, I won't have to craft everything in my pockets anymore. I need to leave some room for the stations on the right. I also need space for a transport belt along the top. Belts and inserters come first. Then we will move on to the rail components and after that the infrastructure for a robot network. From here on I can use the robots to help with construction. They're still very slow, but they're better than nothing. They will also help with building out the mall and all the various production lines. Requester jets are still quite a long way off. For now, maybe we can set up something like assemblers with belts. The rest can come later. Since we've made such good progress, let's turn our attention to the next project. Agricultural science. At first glance, it looks fairly simple. In reality, producing it sustainably is quite intricate. I think this is going to be a two-step process. First, we need to get a few science packs from the various gardens I have collected. That will unlock the technologies needed for sustainable production. Even then, there are multiple ways to approach it. At some point, you simply have to pick one and commit to it. As you can see, the process contains several loops. Products from later stages are required as input for earlier ones. Because of that, Helmut isn't particularly helpful here. One of the first tasks is deciding which production chain works best. I plan to go with nuts and jellyfish for nutrient production. The next step is breaking everything down into isolated sections. The first thing that caught my eye was calcite chloride. That can be produced completely independently. Another thing that stood out is how often we need carbon dioxide or some form of fuel. Instead of shipping gas around the factory, let's move wood pellets instead. They can be burned directly as fuel and they can also be converted into carbon dioxide whenever we need it. If we want to expand the mall with more buildings, we will also need some materials that can serve a variety of purposes. It's better to get those sorted out sooner rather than later, especially as this involves sand, which is another product that we need. The last section that can be separated somewhat is the aquatic production chain. It produces nutrients and polluted artificial fish water. The various aquatic life forms have different yields and ingredient requirements. After looking through the options, I think the Lovac comes out ahead. I'm not entirely sure this fish route was the best idea. I thought I would simply dump or burn off the surplus fish oil, but that's not actually possible. Let's break it down to the point where we simply can burn any excess off. With all the pre-processing taken care of, this looks much more manageable. Let this be a lesson. Always employ divide and conquer. But instead of going nuts, I use the garden recipe that creates two. One goes back into producing more and the other is turned into the science packs. Though they are also needed as input, there is a slight surplus. With this setup, we get 2 agricultural science packs out of each loop. Woohoo! At least we don't need them just yet. So let's build everything up and have it ready for when the time comes. How do you get your agricultural science? Let me know down in the comments. Speaking of time, it's time to wrap things up. Join me next time to see what I come up with next. See you then!